So the question is, write an account of the annual pilgrimage to Makkah, the Hajj, describing the main observances made by the pilgrims. This is a 10-mark question. We're not discussing that right now. The question we are discussing is the B part. In what ways are the Prophet Ibrahim and his family important to the annual pilgrimage? Now, the whole family is very important when it comes to Hajj. First of all, he built the Kaaba. Hazrat Ibrahim along with Ismail, they built the Kaaba. Plus, remember, Hazrat Ibrahim left Hazrat Hajra with Ismail as an infant near the foundations of the Kaaba also. So they built the Kaaba, and then the Maqam Ibrahim that you have, where every single person has to stand and recite 2 nafal after they perform a tawaf. What is the Maqam Ibrahim? Maqam Ibrahim is the stone that miraculously used to be raised, like an excavator, not an excavator, an elevators or scaffolding. Nowadays they have modern scaffolding in which they have a lift that, attached to a machine that will go up when you're building up. But this, the stone, it has Ibrahim's footsteps on it, impression of his footsteps on it, because this stone used to raise miraculously so that Ibrahim would raise with it so that he could build the Kaaba. So Maqam Ibrahim, when we offer those 2 nafal there, we are also commemorating Ibrahim at that place. And then he was the first to call to Hajj. It is mentioned in Surah Al-Hajj that when after Ibrahim had built the Kaaba, Allah said to him, proclaim, like azan, like give the azan for people to come to Hajj. And Ibrahim, it is said that Ibrahim questioned that there is nobody here. Who is going to come to perform Hajj, where there's nobody who can listen to my voice? And then Allah answered to him that your work is to call to Hajj, is to proclaim the azan. For it to reach to people is my work, is Allah's work basically. You must have come across so many people in the society where they say, all of a sudden we felt like we have to go to Hajj. All of a sudden we were sitting normally, doing our regular work, and all of a sudden it just came, a deep feeling came so strong that we have to go to Hajj. So that was Allah, that is from Allah basically. And then they do get to go to Hajj the same year when it becomes so strong, that because when Ibrahim at that time said, who's going to listen to my voice? Nobody's here. Who's going to hear? And then Allah said, it's my work for your voice to get to people. So it's a miracle that continues to carry on, that Allah makes people, the voice of Ibrahim, the yearning to go to Hajj up till now. Now, it was Hazrat Ibrahim who taught the rituals of the Hajj also. The initial rituals of Hajj were taught by Hazrat Ibrahim, although Hazrat Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, because the rituals had some distortion in it at the time of the Makkans, so the Prophet did revive the rituals of Hajj in the last farewell Hajj. But the initial person to teach the rituals of Hajj was Hazrat Ibrahim, because it's mentioned in the Quran that the manasik, Allah is teaching the manasik to Ibrahim, so then he can further teach on. And then he was also told to keep the house clean for the people who do ruku, sujood and tawaf in haram, right? So even up till today, when you go for Hajj, what do you see? I think it's the most cleanest place on earth, in fact. Then Safa Marwa. How can we forget Safa Marwa? Safa Marwa, the running, when we are running, even for the lesser Hajj, Hajj Asghar is called Umrah. So the lesser Hajj, the Umrah that we perform, even at that time, we commemorate, we remember Hazrat Hajra's effort to find water for Hazrat Ismail. So her running from Safa to Marwa, from Marwa to Safa 7 times. It's all about that family and their struggle and their sacrifice, just for the sake of Allah's orders, just for the sake of Islam, just for the sake of Tawheed. Allah put them to the test, and they proved strong in the test, and then their test has been remembered up till today and will be remembered up till Qiyamah, because these tests that they were put through were all just for the sake of Allah. Okay, Zamzam. Even when we are ordered to go and drink from the Zamzam, that is also we are remembering the miracle that occurred at that time, that Hazrat Ismail was rubbing his feet when he was crying to the soil, and Zamzam and water started gushing. And the word Zamzam is also the word that Hazrat Hajra said from her, she said Zamzam. Zamzam means to stop, stop. She wanted the water to stop. She started gathering sand around a puddle of water so that it would stop, so that she could collect it for her child, so that they could use it. It's a natural thing that if you all of a sudden you find water, you'll try to store it. There is a hadith in which the Prophet mentions that if Amma Hajra did not say Zamzam, in other words, stop, stop, then then Zamzam would not have been a well. It would have been a river, like the river Euphrates, Nile, and so on. So even when we drink Zamzam, we're commemorating Hazrat Hajra. And then the sacrifice at Mina, then we go during Hajj, we go to Mina to sacrifice an animal. And why are we sacrificing at that time? Because remember, Hazrat Ibrahim was ordered to sacrifice Hazrat Ismail when Ismail was 13. And when Hazrat Ismail was told about this dream that he is sacrificing his son, Ismail was the one who said openly, okay, Father, yes, if you've seen a dream, it's from Allah, you will find me obedient. But then when he's taking his son, the devil, Satan, comes in 3 times, he comes to attack him. So that's why for 3 days he wants to take his son, but again and again, Satan attacks him, that brings waswasa into his mind that don't do it. And then to get Satan, to get rid of Satan, what does Ibrahim do? He throws stones at Satan. So when we are stoning the Jamarat, we are remembering Hazrat Ibrahim at that time that he was stoning the devil. And then finally, when he does take his son to the altar to sacrifice, then Allah stops him in his footsteps and says, your sacrifice has been accepted, but you see this ram standing next to you, sacrifice this and spare your son. So even the sacrifice, when we are sacrificing a ram or whatever at Mina, and even in wherever we are in the Islamic community, we are remembering the sacrifice that Hazrat Ibrahim was willing to do. Then if we go on sacrifice of family commemorated, the whole family, the sacrifices that they went through just because of Allah. Allah ordered Ibrahim to go and drop off his family near the foundations of Kaaba. So, and then, the mother Hajra asking him that, why are you leaving us here? She asked him 3 times and he did not answer. And then she asked, if it's an order by Allah, I will not ask again. And then he said, it's an order by Allah. So she stayed there patiently. And so the whole family, the sacrifices as a child that Ismail had to go through, and Hajra and Ibrahim had to go through, have been commemorated. And they will be commemorated up till Qiyamah. And what does it teach us? It teaches us Tawheed. Hazrat Ibrahim was never, he would never be diverted from Tawheed. Even when he was surrounded by shirk as a young youth, a young child, it never attracted him. Polytheism never attracted him. And what do we see? These stories about the family teaches us love for Allah and teaches us obedience for Allah. So that's why the lessons that we get from and this family and why they are remembered at Hajj is it teaches us Tawheed, love and obedience. I hope I've answered the question.